Last time on the results driven
fitness show.
Lots of exercises, especially lower body ones.
That's where exercises like split squats come in.
The split squat is one of the biggest bang for your buck exercises.
Pull the rope apart and then push through both feet to perform the split squat.
Strength training is very foreign to a lot of people.
So what does progressive resistance training mean? Ascending or descending reps can be another way to challenge your body.
Reps with one rep.
Welcome back, everybody. This is the Results Driven Fitness Show. April is Member Appreciation Month at RD. Over the next 4 weeks, we're sharing member stories, talking about their struggles and how they overcame them. Then we're gonna be giving you some tactical advice to overcome some of your obstacles on the road to glory. This week, we're highlighting Micah.
Then we're talking foam rolling. Foam rolling was a big part of Micah's process. It's a great tool to improve movement, but if it's done in the wrong way, it won't accomplish as much as it could. We'll talk about our approach to foam rolling, why it's important, and then we'll go out on the floor to show you how we taught Micah to foam roll to improve his hip mobility. This is episode 16. Let's do it. Woo, woo.
Coaches, we take our jobs very seriously. And part of our job is wearing different hats depending on what our clients need. Some days we're just trainers, teaching people skills and getting them sweaty. Other days we're movement specialists, putting people through movement screens to help them move better and more safely. On other days, we're strategists, helping members reach their goals and trying to give them advice. So we want to troubleshoot their circumstances and then help them plan on the continuing road of the fitness journey. Whatever that day brings, it's important that we are transparent as possible and that we come up with a mutual agreed upon course of action. With each of the cases we're going to share this month, a conversation was had. The member expressed their reason for the meeting, we listened, and then based on that conversation, we created a strategy to help them help themselves.
Our first badass member this month is Micah. Micah has dedicated himself lately to overcoming his biggest fitness struggle, tight hips. Micah is someone that has no issue with dedication. He dives into everything he does head first and respects the process. So then what the hell is he struggling with? Micah was a fanatic runner for a long time. The man could run more miles in a clip than I feel comfortable driving.
I had run for 3 years, 2 months, 14 days, and 16 hours.
In order to improve his hip mobility, we had to put running on the back burner for a bit.
If we're talking specifically about the functional movement screen, Micah needs to improve his active straight leg raise. He's trained for months without specifically addressing his leg raise, but now he has a goal of the kettlebell swing. He wouldn't be able to safely progress in the kettlebell swing without owning his leg raise, and that's why he made time to have a goal chat.
We're super impressed with Micah. Runners are some of the most dedicated people we've ever met. So dedicated that running becomes part of their identity. The fact that he was willing to take a break in order to achieve his other goals is pretty amazing.
So, what did he have to do to make progress on his leg raise? Micah works out at least 5 times per week. The first thing we asked him to do was table not only running, but deadlifting as well. Since he didn't own his leg raise, deadlifting should be avoided too. After that, we asked him to cut back on his intense workouts to 3 days a week and have 2 less intense workouts geared more towards mobility and stability exercises that complement his movement goals.
Once we set a plan of action, we recommend periodic check-ins. For Micah, we've screened him 3 times in the last 6 weeks. His strategies include foam rolling, coupled with other exercises like a hip flexor stretch and bridging. If you remember from previous episodes, FMS recommends addressing mobility first, then motor control, also known as stability, to teach the body how to control the new mobility. Initially, his stability exercises were less demanding, like a single leg bridge. Now, as we've seen him progress, we need to teach the body to control the hips more dynamically. His band-assisted leg lower is the latest drill added to the sequence of foam rolling and the hip flexor stretch.
Remember, we're going to test and then retest. We know this is the right path for Micah because the screen tells us it is. If he didn't make progress or he backtracked, we'd reassess and try other exercises. Micah's approach now is about creating motor control from the ground up. 90-90 rockovers help internal and external rotation on his hips. Crawling is a great total body exercise, core exercise, and overall ass kicker. And then we bring in the farmer's carry to bring Micah to standing, create the stability in a split hip position, and just increase his strength.
For those of you at home, how can you apply some of these concepts? If your goal is to move better, get a functional movement screen done. Knowing your strengths and weaknesses will help you train more appropriately, considering where your body is at this point in time. After that, follow your coach's recommendations. Do you have tight hips from years of running like Micah? Are your hips very mobile and your body craves stability? Follow the corrective algorithm by addressing mobility, then static, and then dynamic motor control. My last recommendation is don't underestimate the power of spending some time on the ground. Bridging, crawling, or time spent in half or tall kneel open the gateway to higher level movement.
Now, we just showed you one typical example of a goal conversation and how we might address that client. Mobility and recovery are a big part of the fitness process. Unfortunately, it's often forgotten. For most of us, we think, how can we get more gains, with a Z, when we're not doing more? You cannot redline the car day in and day out and not expect it to explode at some point. The same thing is true for our body. Our mentality is if we're only getting in 3 workouts a week, then our body isn't getting demolished, so why even choose recovery? The fact is, besides workouts, there are a lot of other stressors on our body. Our modern life has us spending a lot of time sitting. Emotional stress, whether good or bad, takes a toll on our ability to recover. And should we even mention sleep? Remember that thing? Sleep? Anyone? Bueller? Bueller?
Exercise is a great thing for our bodies, but we have to manage recovery appropriately. Like Coach Fury said in a recent in-service, would you rather have 5 intense workouts and have to stop, or 5 years of workouts? That's where recovery strategies come in. Now, it's important to note that foam rolling is a temporary fix, and I want to say it with one of these. You're not really fixing anything, you're just relieving tight spots in your muscles that are caused by repeated exposure to stressors, whether they're poor posture, sitting for long periods of time, or performing inappropriate exercises for your body. The way it's been explained to us is that you're temporarily creating mobility, but then something has to be done afterwards to actually make movement change. Foam rolling is a great way to start moving the needle. That's why we're going out on the floor and we're gonna show you exactly what we did with Micah.
All right, guys, we are out on the floor talking about foam rolling. So, foam rolling was a big part of the equation that got Micah to his active straight leg raise. So, how do you do it at home? First, you're going to need a foam roll. We're gonna foam roll from the top, like just below the point of the hip, down to just above the knee. So all that muscly quad stuff is in play. So we're gonna start with the foam roll on the floor. We're gonna be in quadruped and the foam roll is gonna be in front of one quad. The other knee is going to go out to the side, and then we're going to lay that quad onto the foam roll. The goal is to find the spots that feel kind of crappy, all right? So find that first spot and you're just going to breathe. After a few breaths, the spot tends to melt a little bit, for lack of a better term, and then when that starts to happen, I want you to throw in a knee bend. So bend the knee, pause, and breathe. See if you can start to melt that spot away with a few knee bends. After that, roll closer to the knee, find the next crappy spot, rinse, and repeat. Now, like we mentioned earlier in the episode, foam rolling is an incomplete equation. It's not that it's not effective, but after you foam roll, you need to do exercises after it to teach the body how to control that new range of motion. So exercises that Micah did, like the bridge or the leg lower, are great exercises to do after you foam roll to help the body learn to control that new range of motion. Thank you for joining us for this Fit Tip. Back to the studio.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Results Driven Fitness Show. Next week, we'll meet Emma. Her biggest obstacle to reaching her feel better goal was time. We'll walk through her process of evaluating her goals and the amount of time she has to dedicate to them.
After that, we're going to talk about warming up. If time is a restriction, how can we get the most out of the time we have allotted? We'll show you how we go through our dynamic warm-up to get the most out of your workouts.
Please make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, follow us on all the social media things. We really appreciate your feedback and we really appreciate your attention.
Bye.
Good. That didn't matter. I just wanted to see what you do.
No, that's in the script.
We'll accomplish it. And then we'll go. Fucking crap.
Our job's very sealer. God damn it. You did it.
We've ever.
We're getting 3 working out. Damn it.
You said
Yeah, I know what I said. The thing.
That's why we wanted fucking crap. We wanted crap. I want a handful of crap.
How we go through our dynamic to workout to get the most out of your workouts. Fucking shit.